Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to make some comments on some of the fights that have been announced for the Emmanuel Navarrete-Denis Beranchyk fight on May 18th. As many of you guys know, Vaquero will be taking on Beranchyk for the vacant WBO lightweight title. It's a good fight. Looking forward to it. But there's been a couple interesting announcements that have happened on the undercard that I think are worth discussing. And this will kind of be like a two-parter, talking about two fights in the same video. So we'll start with the co-main event. You know, the fight's in San Diego, and they gotta move some tickets. They gotta sell some tickets. So they brought one of San Diego's favorite boxing sons on the card, and that's none other than the very hardworking and now rising welterweight contender, Giovanni Santillan. You know, Giovanni Santillan just put on one of the most impressive performances of 2023 when he beat the brakes off Alexis Rocha and upset him, and he hit this dude with like 6 right hooks like he was Roy Jones. So Top Rank has made a fight between Giovanni Santillan versus undefeated Brian Norman Jr. in the co-main event. Now, very interesting matchmaking from Top Rank because Brian Norman Jr. was a guy that not so long ago was signed by Top Rank, you know, from Atlanta. Built up a good knockout record. But then once he signed with Top Rank and started fighting stiffer competition like guys like Quentin Randall and Janelson Figueroa, he hasn't exactly lit the world on fire. He's left a lot to be desired in his performances. Him and Quentin Randall was a very, very forgettable fight, very boring fight that didn't win him any fans really. The Janelson Figueroa fight, he got dropped in that fight, and you know a lot of people thought he was on his way to a loss that fight. So when I hear that Giovanni Santillan is fighting Brian Norman Jr., I feel like Top Rank is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. They're trying to keep Giovanni Santillan busy against a guy with a good record, which Norman has a good record on paper, 25-0. And they're pretty much throwing Brian Norman Jr. to the wolves. It's kind of a situation where it's like, okay, look, if you're gonna amount to anything, you'll find a way to win this fight. If not, you'll lose, and we'll cut our ties. That's kind of how I see the fight when I look at just the timing of it all. We'll see what Norman's got. You know, Santillan's gonna come out here and perform because now I think Santillan has more expectation on him because of the fact that he performed so well against Rocha, and he's one of the guys that I want to see fight Jerome, and it's because that performance against Rocha was so good, and I feel like, you know, he's 32-0. He's been pounding that pavement for a long time. I know the executives at Top Rank are extremely high on Giovanni Santillan, and they view him as the future of the welterweight division. So if he's going to be that and more, he's going to have to beat Brian Norman Jr., and he's a southpaw, likes to come forward, also shows that he has incredibly high work rate if need be, can box. So, you know, he's taking on a guy, Norman. Norman's a big, strong guy, but Norman doesn't seem to have gears. You know, I feel like if Santillan can win this fight, the key to victory for him is just to be sound defensively and break him down and outwork him. And eventually you could do that probably in the later rounds because we saw when he fought Janelson Figueroa that his defense can be leaky. But at the same time, Norman ain't no pillow-fisted fighter. He's got some thump in those hands. So if he can punch in between the inevitable shots that are going to be coming his way from Giovanni Santillan, he's going to have a chance to go ahead and win the fight. So best of luck to him, man. You know, Brian Norman Jr. still, I think, even though he's 25-0, a lot of the guys he was fighting in Atlanta weren't, you know, no world beaters or anything like that. So he was just hitting these guys and they were falling. So he's still kind of learning on the job, which sounds crazy because he's 25-0. And he's going to have to really rise to the occasion on fight night, on the road, as the B-side, in this guy's backyard. So full credit to him if he does win. Yeah, but like I was saying, full credit to him if he does win. It's going to be a tough task. But again, sometimes a fighter needs these kind of sink-or-swim fights, these sink-or-swim moments to really bring the best out of him. Look at perfect example. And I use him as an example all the time now, which is crazy. But look at Raymond Ford. You know, he was not lighting the world on fire in many of his fights before he fought Otabek Komatov. And when he finally got that fight and the pressure was on, he fought the best fight, one of the best, if not the best fight of his entire boxing career. So maybe that could be the case for Norman, but I'm telling you, he's going to be really up against it because even more so than like Ford against Komatov, he has to go to this dude's hometown. So he could be winning a close fight and still get, you know, shafted on the card. So it has to be an emphatic performance because, like, look, there was that fight some years ago when Santillan fought Eric Bonet, and people thought he was fortunate to get a decision on that fight over Bonet. So if it's happened once, it can certainly happen again. So best of luck to both fighters. Should be a good fight for the welterweight division. But the other fight on the card, which is of very big interest to me, is a heavyweight fight because it features two of Top Rank's undefeated heavyweights, two fighters that haven't really fought much of anybody yet, but two fighters that are undefeated that have been garnering some hype around Top Rank, which is first and foremost Richard Torrez Jr., 9-0, 9 knockouts. Been really just fighting, just cans, for lack of a better word. He's fought mostly cans, apart from Curtis Harper. Curtis Harper, probably the only guy I would say is a decent opponent because, he's been a solid heavyweight journeyman. But other than that, everyone else has been a can. And, to his credit, he's treated a can like cans are supposed to be treated. 9 fights, 9 knockouts. So he's doing what he's got to do. But now, they're stepping it up. And he's taking on a fellow undefeated heavyweight that's also signed a Top Rank in Polk County's very own Brandon Moore. Now, this is my first time making a video about Brandon Moore, but I know who Brandon Moore is. I believe he's signed to Ryan Ricky's his manager, so I know he's part of that Ryan Ricky stable. I know that he sparred Philip Hergovich. He sparred my boy Lorenzo Medina. He's been in a lot of camps. And people, I've seen him fight a couple times, against also like Richard Torrez Jr., against like cans, guy he's supposed to beat up on. And to his credit, he's treated the cans like you're supposed to treat him for the most part. He's 14-0. Doesn't have quite the knockout ratio of a guy like Richard Torrez Jr. He got 8 knockouts in 14 fights, but nonetheless, he's a fighter that's been, if you've been paying attention to heavyweight prospects and heavyweight boxing, he's a guy that you would know that name. 6'6", experienced guy. I like this fight a lot because I honestly did not think that Richard Torrez Jr. would take a fight like this so early in his career. I thought that he was going to get up to I literally thought he was going to get up to 15, 17, 20-0 before, they decided to take a fight that resembled anything remote like a competitive fight. So credit to him for taking this fight in only his 10th pro fight. He's taking on a fellow undefeated heavyweight who's 14-0 and is around the same level of experience in the professional ranks as him. So I like this fight. We know that Richard Torrez Jr. is a strong, compact, come forward southpaw. Likes to throw his hands a lot. Brandon Moore is a fighter that, from the little bit I've watched, he likes to box tall off that jab, and sometimes he's got a little bit of an awkward movement to him. Got subtle punching power. He's a solid fighter. I think he's still very much in development. So these are two guys very much still in development, and they're gonna have to develop against one another. So I like the fight a lot, and I hope because I've had people in my comment section on lives tell me, they think that Richard Torrez Jr. is taking this fight because they're underestimating Brandon Moore, and I will hope not. I will hope nobody's underestimating anybody because, again, neither one of these guys knows how to lose yet. So you will be led to believe that they're both going to come hungry to win. But good fight, a real good, solid, undefeated heavyweight prospect fight. I like fights like this where guys, put their O's on the line and we see who's who and we start figuring out the landscape of weight classes. So should be a good one. Credit to both fighters. I don't have a prediction on the fight because I got to watch more Brandon Moore before I really make a prediction or give even more insight. But these are just my initial thoughts because this fight's still a month away, but I wanted to get my initial thoughts on it. So, Giovanni Santillan, Brian Norman Jr., interesting fight. Richard Torrez Jr. versus Brandon Moore, both putting their undefeated heavyweight records on the line. What more could you ask for? The 4 undefeated fighters all fighting each other. That's what boxing's all about. So leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canterbury, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.